There is a place on this planet so vast, so extreme, and so strange that most people will never truly understand its scale. It covers nearly 10% of all land on Earth. Temperatures have dropped to minus 71 degrees Celsius there. The ground beneath it has been frozen for over 500,000 years. Ancient beasts are emerging from its melting ice. And right now, its forests are on fire. This is Siberia, and we're counting down 12 facts. From mind-bending to absolutely earth-shattering. Starting at number 12. 12. The fire season that can be seen from space. Siberia contains the world's largest forest. The taiga, a vast belt of boreal trees, covers roughly 5.5 million square kilometers. It's often called the lungs of the northern hemisphere. Every summer, parts of it burn. That's always been true. Fire is part of the natural cycle. But in recent years, those fires have become something else. In 2019, wildfires burned an area larger than the entire country of Belgium. In 2020, they burned even more. Smoke plumes could be seen from space. The fires reached areas of deep peat and ancient permafrost, releasing carbon that had been stored for thousands of years. Siberia is burning at a scale and intensity that has no modern precedent. And when it burns, it doesn't just release CO2. It releases methane from the thawing permafrost beneath. 11. The holes that keep appearing from nowhere. In 2014, a helicopter pilot spotted something strange in the Yamal Peninsula of Siberia. A massive, perfectly circular crater, about 30 meters wide, that had simply appeared in the tundra. No warning, no obvious cause. Which just a giant hole in the ground. Then more appeared. Then more. Scientists scrambled to explain them, and they did. Thawing permafrost was releasing trapped underground methane gas. As the gas built up under the frozen surface, the pressure became explosive, literally. The frozen ground blew open like a champagne cork. This is climate change made physical. These craters are Siberia's landscape literally detonating under the pressure of warming temperatures. And they're not stopping. Each new summer brings more of them. Reminders that in Siberia, the ground beneath your feet is not as stable as it looks. 10. The mammoths coming back from the dead. Siberia's permafrost is so cold and so stable that it acts as a natural deep freeze for the prehistoric world. And what scientists have been pulling out of it is extraordinary. Woolly mammoths. All perfectly preserved, with fur still intact, with blood still liquid in some specimens. Scientists have found mammoth calves so well preserved that their last meals were still in their stomachs. But here's where it gets wild. Using DNA recovered from these permafrost specimens, biotech companies, most notably Colossal Biosciences, are actively working to resurrect the woolly mammoth through genetic engineering. They're targeting 2028 for the first mammoth-elephant hybrid calf. Whether it's truly de-extinction or just creating a modified Asian elephant is up for debate. But the DNA to do it? It came out of Siberian ice. 9. The people who conquered the cold. Long before Russia claimed Siberia, the land was home to dozens of indigenous peoples who didn't just survive the extreme cold. They thrived in it. The Yakuts developed horsemanship techniques for minus 50 degrees Celsius winters. The Evenki followed reindeer herds across thousands of kilometers of taiga. The Chukchi of the far northeast developed one of the most sophisticated Arctic survival cultures on Earth, with a language, spiritual tradition, and knowledge of their environment refined over thousands of years. Their knowledge of the land, which plants don't freeze, how to read ice, which wines bring danger, is the kind of knowledge that takes generations to accumulate and can disappear in a generation. Today, many of these cultures are fighting to preserve their languages, their lands, and their ways of life against the pressure of modernization and resource extraction. 8. The explosion. Bigger than 1,000 Hiroshima bombs. June 30th, 1908. A remote region of Siberia called Tunguska. And then, the sky exploded. An asteroid or comet fragment entered Earth's atmosphere and detonated approximately 8 to 10 kilometers above the ground. The blast released energy equivalent to roughly 10 to 15 megatons of TNT, more than 1,000 times the power of the atomic bomb dropped on Hiroshima. It flattened an estimated 2,000 square kilometers of forest, 80 million trees knocked flat, all pointing away from the blast center like a giant explosion fingerprint. And because Siberia is so remote and sparsely populated, almost nobody was there to witness it. There is no crater because the object exploded in mid-air. For years, the event was a mystery. It remains the largest impact event in recorded human history. And it happened over empty wilderness. 7. The Gulag. History's frozen hell. In the 20th century, Siberia became something else entirely. A system of forced labor camps known as the Gulag, an acronym for the Soviet agency that ran them. Under Stalin, millions of Soviet citizens, political dissidents, criminals, ethnic minorities, even people who told the wrong joke, were shipped to Siberian labor camps to mine coal, fell timber, and build infrastructure in temperatures that killed without mercy. Historians estimate that somewhere between 1.5 and 1.8 million people died in these camps. Other estimates put the total much higher. The Gulag wasn't a single place. It was a network of thousands of camps scattered across Siberia and the Soviet North. Many of those camps are gone now, swallowed back by the wilderness. But the history and the stories of those who survived remain as stark and unforgiving as the land itself. 6. In the railway that stitched a continent together. The trans-siberian railway, 9,289 kilometers. The longest railway in the world. Built between 1891 and 1916 under Tsar Nicholas II, this was one of the most ambitious engineering projects in human history. Constructed mostly by hand, by prisoners and soldiers, through some of the most hostile terrain imaginable. Crossing 8 time zones, traversing mountains, rivers, and the frozen edge of Lake Baikal itself. Today, a full end-to-end journey from Moscow to Vladivostok takes about 6 days. 6 days on a train. You pass through 87 cities and towns. You cross the Ural Mountains, the Siberian steppe, and the birch forests of the Russian Far East. Travelers describe it as one of the great journeys of the world, a moving window through a landscape that feels like it belongs to another era. 5. Is the biggest cat on Earth, on the edge. The Siberian tiger, also called the Amur tiger, is the largest wild cat on the planet. A fully grown male can weigh over 300 kilograms and stretch nearly 4 meters from nose to tail. These animals are so powerful they've been documented taking down adult brown bears. At the start of the 20th century, there were thousands of them. By the 1940s, rampant poaching and habitat destruction had crushed that number to fewer than 40 animals. 40! The species teetered on the absolute edge of extinction. Conservation efforts, particularly in Russia's Far East, pulled them back. Today, around 500 Siberian tigers survive in the wild. It's a genuine recovery story. But they remain critically endangered, and the forests they need are still under threat. 4. The ground that has been frozen for 650,000 years. About 65% of Russia's entire landmass sits on permafrost, ground that has been continuously frozen for centuries, millennia, or in some cases, over 500,000 years. In parts of Siberia, the permafrost goes down more than 1.5 kilometers deep. Ancient soil, ice, and organic material locked in a deep freeze since before modern humans existed. But here's why this matters right now. As the planet warms, that permafrost is thawing. And inside it, billions of tons of carbon dioxide and methane that have been trapped for hundreds of thousands of years. Scientists call it a carbon time bomb. When permafrost thaws, it doesn't just melt. It releases greenhouse gases that accelerate warming, which thaws more permafrost. A feedback loop that could reshape the entire planet's climate trajectory. 3. In the lake that holds a fifth of the world's water, Lake Baikal. The oldest lake on Earth at 25 million years old. The deepest, plunging 1,642 meters. That's over a mile straight down. And here's the fact that genuinely stops people in their tracks. Lake Baikal holds approximately 20% of all the world's unfrozen surface fresh water. Not 2%, not 5%, 20%. One single lake in Siberia contains more fresh water than all 5 of the Great Lakes of North America combined. And it's alive. Over 1,700 species of plants and animals call Baikal home, and 2/3 of them exist nowhere else on Earth. The Baikal seal, the Nerpa, is the world's only freshwater seal species. It evolved there, in isolation, for millions of years. 2. The coldest place people actually live. You think you know cold? You do not know cold. Oymyakon. It's a small village in northeastern Siberia, holds the record for the coldest permanently inhabited settlement on Earth. In January 1924, temperatures plunged to minus 71.2 degrees Celsius. That's minus 96 degrees Fahrenheit. At that temperature, your breath freezes before it even leaves your mouth. Diesel freezes. Eyelashes freeze together. Metal sticks to bare skin like glue. And yet, around 500 people still live there today. They go to school. They farm. They raise cattle. The cows have specially heated barns, but the people? They just put on another layer. Absolute legends. 1. The land that swallows countries whole. Siberia. One word. One place. And it is almost beyond comprehension. We're talking 13.1 million square kilometers. That's bigger than Canada, bigger than the United States, bigger than Australia. It makes up nearly 10% of all the land on Earth. And yet only 33 million people live there. That's less than the population of California spread across a landmass the size of an entire continent. And almost none of it is soft. It's brutal tundra, ancient taiga forest, frozen rivers, and mountain ranges that don't apologize for existing. Siberia doesn't welcome you. It tolerates you, barely. Siberia is not just a place. It's a force, a relic of deep time, a warning about the future, and one of the last places on Earth that still makes humans feel genuinely small.